Well, the obvious thing which is talked about far and wide is renewable energy is now the cheapest source of energy. When you couple solar, wind, batteries together, there's no debate anymore. As we say, the train has left the station. Renewables will be the technology of choice for generating the next incremental kilowatt hour of energy. So for businesses and consumers, it's how does that opportunity get transferred into cost reductions, where they can see meaningful reductions in their energy bills because of this transformation. And I think that's the challenge. Can we drive the 2050 targets, the clean energy that the government's pushing, and at the same time drive down the energy bills for business? So if you think about the journey we're on to 2050 is basically electrifying our economy. We're electrifying everything we do. We've started with the power system, and the government is now realizing the challenges are process industries, heat. We have to electrify and decarbonize heat, and we have to decarbonize transport, electric vehicles, as you can see. So if you imagine you're a business at the receiving end of this, you see the power system becoming cleaner and more renewables. You've got to sort out what you do with your heat generation. Are you going to carry on burning gas? Are you going to shift to electrical heating systems? You're then looking at your fleet of lorries or vans or your logistics, and are you going to electrify your fleet? So the whole renewable journey to 2050 is a holistic impact on businesses across everything they do. And that journey has only just begun. So whilst we see the big headlines of the offshore wind farms and the big solar farms going down, businesses have got a long way to go. They've only just started to think about how they adapt. And if you like, how they benefit from this sort of revolution rather than are just simply done to by energy being given to them in a new way. I think one of the things we'd like the government to think about more is, over the last 30 years, distributed energy or generation close to the point of consumption has always been an intellectually compelling argument and economic argument, but it's never really taken off at scale. The large centralized generation of energy has always dominated the economic solution. But now with renewables, which are very suited to being deployed locally, we can get economies of scale, we can get cost efficiencies, and we can avoid transmitting energy from all the way offshore through expensive upgrades to the grid network, delivering it to a business in the West Midlands, when that business could generate all its energy for itself. So all those big technologies that are being deployed can be deployed at a local scale at a very efficient cost point for business. That's the bit we have to do. Really, I'm looking for a rooftop revolution in the way we use our rooftops in the UK. You'll see people are putting solar farms down across farmland, large areas of land being covered with solar panels. We have huge untapped resources in commercial, industrial rooftops that we could cover with solar at the point of consumption. If you think about generating a unit of electricity in an offshore wind farm, probably at peak times, only about 80% of that energy would reach the consumer. So the amount of investment you have to make to deliver electricity generation 200 or 300 miles away from where it's consumed can be done in a complementary way and a secure way with localized systems. So community energy schemes, communities getting together, businesses collaborating on industrial parks, almost microgrid type configurations of solar, wind and batteries is definitely the future. Yeah, it's the rapid improvement in battery technology for the last 10 years. 10 years ago, batteries were coming, but they were very expensive and people were not deploying them. In the last 5 years, the price of batteries and the size of the batteries, the physical footprint required to store energy has come down dramatically. When I started at Wattstor, the systems we were putting into our premises of customers that were requiring a 40-foot shipping container to hold the batteries That was 2 years ago. We are now down to a 20-foot shipping container to hold the same amount of energy. So we've doubled the energy density in the space of 2 or 3 years. So that progression is expected to continue. And you're going to get to the point where energy storage is so competitive as a way of absorbing surplus renewable energy that the renewable penetration of solar and wind will continue at pace at large scale, producing at sometimes excess renewable energy, but the energy storage system will be absorbing it and deploying it at the right time. So that combination of the price coming down, the energy density getting better, and the cost of solar coming down, it will keep being the next obvious choice for every power project that needs to be deployed. Yes, to benefit from integrated renewable energy systems, there are a few requirements that we see that the customers we're looking out for. We're looking for customers that have got a reasonable rooftop area, and many customers have not really considered their roof to be a valuable asset. But people that have a large roof area compared to their operations inside the building, people with land around their operations as well. And what the difference that batteries are now making to this whole story is before a company would be approached by a solar installer or a wind turbine developer, and they would simply see how small the project had to be so that the customer could consume all the renewable energy inside the factory or the warehouse. So what would happen is most of the projects would be turned down so that the solar energy wasn't wasted in the middle of the summer. But what we're looking at now is, well, don't take the approach of what's the smallest size where the customer can use all the energy. Let's look at the largest deployment of renewables, which may be 4 or 5 times in the summer more than he's consuming in his business. But then let's use the energy storage system to spread that energy through the day and give him a much greater percentage of his annual energy consumption made locally. The growth of the renewable industry in the next decade is going to be really fascinating, because the energy sector has been around a long time. The UK privatised electricity and gas 35 years ago. So we have a lot of incumbents who are delivering energy through the existing infrastructure to consumers. But that's not the skill sets and the capabilities that we have in our generation systems of gas and electricity. We need new skill sets now. We need new engineering expertise to work with customers on their premises to design, install renewable systems, help customers manage the volatility in electricity prices, because you can see one of the impacts as we go on this journey is when solar and wind turbines are being deployed, we do have volatile electricity prices during the day. That's impacting the customers. Customers want advice. They want to know, well, how do I electrify my fleet? How do I upgrade my electrical supply? I've got to get rid of my gas-fired boilers, but I've got to keep running my business. And this all takes capital. So what is the right answer to this complex sort of challenge we have? And that's where Wattstor comes in. And I think you're going to see a new kind of energy company emerging. You might call it a sort of demand-side utility, or an energy company that primarily focuses on customers' premises and manages for them all the risk that the larger scale energy systems are putting upon them in this transition, and make sure that their energy bills are as low as they can be. They're not impacted by the volatility in energy markets, and their business is economically sustainable.